Have you ever questioned what truly drives you? What is the source of your motivation? Motivation is an enigma, a force that propels us forward, fuels our dreams, and shapes our actions. It is the engine of our accomplishments and the heart of our struggles. Yet it remains elusive, a phenomenon we feel but often struggle to understand or control. Imagine if we could harness the power of motivation, if we could understand its source and direct it towards our goals. How would our lives change? How much more could we achieve? The answers to these questions may lie in an unexpected place: philosophy. Specifically, the wisdom of the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle. His words, preserved for over 2,000 years, offer a unique perspective on motivation. They invite us to see it not as a fleeting emotion, but as a habit, a part of who we are. The Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Picture a struggling artist, living in a small apartment, barely making ends meet. This is the tale of a creative soul, an artist, bound by the constraints of reality, struggling to stay motivated. His canvas, once a playground of vibrant hues, now sat untouched, gathering dust in the corner of his cramped living quarters. His spirit was dampened, not by a lack of talent, but by the lack of immediate success. Each stroke of his brush was overshadowed by self-doubt, his artistry crippled by the fear of failure. The world outside his window moved at a frenzied pace, leaving him feeling disconnected, like an echo fading into oblivion. It was during one such gloomy afternoon that he stumbled upon the philosophy of Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher. His eyes were drawn to a particular quote: "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." This simple yet profound wisdom hit him like a bolt of lightning. His perspective on his craft, his approach towards his work, began to shift. The artist understood that success wasn't an overnight phenomenon. It was a gradual process built upon consistency and perseverance. He realized that the joy of creation was not merely in the accolades it may garner, but in the act of creation itself. The journey, he discovered, was as important, if not more so, than the destination. He began to paint again, not with the burden of achieving instant success, but with a newfound love for his craft. Every stroke of his brush was now a celebration of his artistic expression, each canvas a testament to his unwavering dedication. He found joy in the process, pleasure in the job, and this pleasure, he realized, was the key to perfection in his work. In the depths of his struggles, the artist found a guiding light in Aristotle's wisdom. He understood that motivation stemmed from within, fueled by passion and a love for one's craft. He embraced his journey, cherishing each moment as an opportunity for growth and learning. The artist realized that pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work, as Aristotle once stated. And thus, he found his motivation, not in the applause of the audience, but in the silent whispers of his brush against the canvas. So, what exactly did Aristotle mean with his profound words? Let's dive into the depths of Aristotle's wisdom. This ancient philosopher had a unique perspective on motivation and personal growth, one that still resonates today, 2,000 years later. Aristotle believed that we are what we repeatedly do, and excellence, therefore, is not an act but a habit. It's a profound thought, isn't it? Through this lens, motivation is not a fleeting feeling, but a consistent state of mind. It's not about the grand gestures or the one-off achievements. It's about the small, diligent actions we take each day. It's about creating a routine that fosters growth, a routine that becomes so ingrained in us that it morphs into a part of our identity. Now let's go a little deeper. Aristotle also believed that one of the keys to motivation is finding pleasure in your work. It's the idea that when we love what we do, we naturally strive for perfection. This concept of finding joy in your work is not just about happiness, it's about fulfillment. Imagine a sculptor tirelessly working on a piece of marble. Each strike of the chisel, each grain of dust flying off, brings him closer to the masterpiece hidden within the stone. The sculptor doesn't see this as laborious work. Instead, he finds pleasure in the process, in the journey. This joy in the process motivates him to continue, to strive for perfection, to create something of excellence. So, you see, motivation, according to Aristotle, is not about external rewards or fear of punishment. It's about developing habits that foster growth, finding joy in what you do, and striving for excellence because the work itself is rewarding. As we wrap up this scene, let's ponder on one of Aristotle's most profound quotes: "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." This wisdom includes understanding what motivates you, what makes you strive for excellence, and what brings you genuine joy. It's about understanding your habits, your passions, and your path to personal growth. In Aristotle's words, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. But how can one apply these deep philosophical insights in a practical, everyday context? To truly appreciate the wisdom of Aristotle, we need to understand how to translate it into our day-to-day lives. The first step in this journey is setting habits. Aristotle once said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So, start by identifying the things you do consistently, and then shape those activities towards your goals. Secondly, find joy in your work. Aristotle believed that pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to love every single aspect of your work, but rather to find aspects of it that bring you joy and satisfaction. This could be the process, the result, or even the knowledge that your work is making a difference. Lastly, engage in regular self-reflection. Aristotle taught that knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. This isn't about being self-critical or overly introspective. It's about understanding your strengths, acknowledging your weaknesses, and identifying areas for growth. It's about recognizing the patterns in your life and understanding how they impact your actions and decisions. By applying these strategies, we can start to bring Aristotle's wisdom into our lives. We can find motivation, create meaningful change, and achieve excellence in our own unique way. Remember, the energy of the mind is the essence of life, as Aristotle taught us. So, why does all of this matter? Why should we care about motivation? Well, the power of motivation lies in its ability to transform, to inspire, to push us beyond our perceived limits. It's the driving force that fuels personal growth and paves the path to success. By understanding motivation, we unlock our true potential, allowing us to soar to heights we never imagined. To quote Aristotle one last time, "It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light." Let this be your guiding principle in your quest for motivation and personal growth.